Good afternoon. I'm Gord Sarkissian, and I'm here to talk about becoming a master instructor for the Vancouver Premier College. I'm dealing with module number 7 on assessments, and I'm sort of tasked with talking about two strategies that we use as instructors to help us with our student learning, help us to assess our student learning. One of the things I'd like to talk about first is how we link assessments to learning objectives. At the start of each program, we have an introduction that involves going through an outline, just talking about all the things that will be happening in the class. But one of the primary reasons for doing that outline is to outline the class objectives. What do we hope to achieve over the course of the 15 weeks that are going to be working together? My class, Business Communications, has a number of objectives. I think there were 5 or 6 significant ones and a lot of offshoots from there. By going through that at the beginning and talking about it at length, we try to develop some accountability for the students and a sense of ownership. We ask, is this something that you would like to achieve? Is this an outcome that's important to you? And for the most part, even though they're at the very beginnings and they're a bit shy, they say, yes, this is what we want to achieve, so off we go. We reinforce that accountability, and it helps them assess themselves by doing that at the beginning of each class. We talk about what we're going to be talking about in that class and how it relates to the objective that we identified at the beginning. We also, at the end of the class, go through the objective again to ensure that we've hit the mark. And we introduce the next week's objectives at that time as we ask them to review the new chapter and the new PowerPoint presentation that we'll be going through the following week. These have been very successful. So last week, we had a program where we were involved with business letters and how to write them. And we were on a part where we talked about how to mine for information. Where do we get the information to get our business letters to be true and factual? So one of the things we thought was maybe we could put together a program where we did a survey. The students would go in, do a survey, and then they would create a presentation that showed how they gathered the information. So that's what they did. In groups of 2, they went out to gather business information by way of a survey. And then they would do a presentation on how that survey was put together. The objective on that survey was, how do you speak publicly with both confidence and clarity, which is one of the objectives that was listed at the beginning of the program. So in groups of 2, they went out, they created these presentations, and then they shared them. Before they did that, we showed them what an average presentation might look like, a good presentation might look like, and a great presentation might look like, and identified the differences between the two, again, helping them quite a bit. Each 2 presenters were assigned one person from the class that would assess them themselves. So the assessment was in the hands of the student, as well as the performance was in the hands of the other 2 students. A very good way for them to understand the value of assessments. Providing feedback immediately after the assessment, or I'm sorry, after the, the assessment and the presentation was very helpful. We described what went well and what challenges were there that could have been done differently. A very effective tool when it came to assessing students' outcomes. The second one was built around the notion of cheating and plagiarism and exam integrity. At the program launch, we shared exam integrity with all the students. We shared a document. I'm just going to share it with you briefly. This is something that I share for probably the first 3 weeks of my lessons. It's called the comfort zone, and it talks about students and how they feel where they feel safe, which is what we describe as the comfort zone. We talk a lot about what's just beyond the comfort zone, which is obviously, by the diagram you can see, it's the fear zone, where people lack confidence, they find excuses, and they're affected by others' opinions. One of the most rewarding moments I can have in a class is when I'm assessing a student and I can identify where they've actually stepped beyond their fear zone into a learning zone, where they've acquired new skills, where they've extended their comfort zone and they've dealt properly with challenges and problems. And obviously moving into the growth zone where they can set new goals and where they can live their dreams is the objective. But just getting them past that fear zone is really a good challenge. And I love it. And I share this at least 3 times. And when I'm celebrating someone, I'll identify, right, how they jumped over that fear zone into the learning zone. Very good tool for assessing students. And the goal, as we're going along and talking about the notion of plagiarism and cheating, is we talk about integrity, and we identify what integrity is and how it works and how it serves us well. And over the course of the entire program, we develop a letter or an agreement, and that agreement is meant to serve us to actually be successful in the program without cheating. So the students and I have developed this letter, and I share this letter with you after obviously I've shared it with human resources as well, but this letter is developed with the students and myself. And I guess there's kind of 5 points or parameters that we bring into play for writing any exam. First one is, I will write this exam using the highest ethical standards. I will not use any electronic devices to search any of the questions presented on the exam. I will not refer to any notes or publications. I will not consult any person directly or electronically. And when responding to a written question, I'll provide my answer in my own words. We agree to this. We create this letter over the course of the program. At the end, I say, do your best to complete each question and know that we believe in you and your commitment to your educational goals. This is a wonderful tool in helping me to assess people authentically. It allows me to see what they're really capable of, and it allows me to really judge my own work as an instructor and as a college. So I hope these have been helpful. These are 2 tools that I find extremely useful, and I'm happy to share them with you. Thanks for listening.